This might be the most high mileage 300 SRT8 in the country. Welcome to the Xtalgic YouTube channel. I'm Xtalgic. We do some pretty crazy, dumb, epic stuff here on this channel, and more recently, we're getting into car reviews. This car is actually quite special. If you've been following this channel for quite some time, you know who this guy is, and a pretty big staple on this channel, giving us countless opportunities. We are in his 2014 Chrysler 300 SRT8. And this car, if you've been following for quite some time, has been through some shit.
It's P219A.
We had to pull over because it's gonna be leaking right now a lot. Chill. It's just coming out of overflow.
Go, asshole! Putting it a little lightly.
Yeah. So this is my second car review. The first one, if you followed that, it was an E63 AMG. That was a complete disaster. So we're trying to get into these whole car reviews, kind of get the gist of them, kind of dial down a style. I don't really care about the specs and the times and all that bullshit. I just genuinely care about how a car makes me feel. And that is the premise behind these car reviews. And what better car to review? Well, we probably should have started with this one.
Yeah.
But this car, I've spent quite a substantial time in. We've gone through rallies and cruises and events. This car has been through it all, and we'll get into that. For now, we're going to introduce my buddy. This is Tim. He is amongst, and I will say this on the record on this video, if not the best, amongst the best photographers in the Chicagoland area, probably in the Midwest, I'm going to say.
I appreciate
and I'm not sucking his dick. I'll put some examples of his art right now, and so you can see just how crazy, hyper realistic his style is. Genuinely amongst the best photographers in this state, for sure. So Tim, do you want to introduce yourself and this car and kind of like talk about the Boeing stats and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Tim. I'm an automotive photographer in the Chicagoland area, and this has been my workhorse for a year and a half, and it's a hell of a car. It's actually been pretty reliable. There's been a few things that have gone wrong, but that's all been mileage dictated issues. This car has really seen it all. It's gone Crown Rally West. We've gone up Pikes Peak. It overheated at 254 coolant degrees, which actually ended up causing, I think, a stress crack in the radiator we didn't know about. So the following winter, I did donuts in a snowy warehouse parking lot, and I blew the radiator just wide open, sprayed coolant absolutely everywhere. Also had an AC compressor go out. Is a lot of the components on this car true to the mileage, but the engine isn't. The engine is from a 2016 392 Challenger SRT. Does not have cylinder deactivation. It had a tune on it when I bought it. The tune is now kind of rendered ineffective now that I lost my brake pressure by going straight pipes. But honestly, the sound that we picked up, it's kind of worth it 100%.
So let's talk about like the sound. So there isn't much in regards to modifications done to this car, but what have you done? I noticed the bronze brass monkeys on the car.
So I loved the stock wheels so much, and I told myself I would never take them off until I cracked them. Factory wheels are 245s. That's a very narrow size, but they're tall. A lot of stress points on a very tall and very narrow wheel, and especially with Chrysler build quality in aluminum, you can never really guess how long your wheels will last. They cracked, and I had to make a decision and found an incredible deal on OEM Brass Monkey Charger Hellcat wheels, and that's basically what we're running on this car right now.
I will say, in my opinion, they look 1,000,000 times better.
Really?
They like fit on this car so well.
This is what I'll say. It kind of transformed the look from gangster mob ties with like the big multi-spoke, big black chrome wheels. That was like more of like a gangster Americana look.
Yeah.
And these are more pro touring, sporting, cornering look.
And they're also wider, right?
Yeah, they're significantly wider.
So
they're 275 40/20 square, just like on all the Hellcats, and they fit right on. And if you were wondering about the fitment of the wheel, little known fact about the 14s is that is the factory ride.
There you go.
So when you put a 275, they will fit perfectly.
No spacers, nothing.
Nothing.
Cool.
They just went right on. For 2014, they're the rarest of the bunch. There are 496 in the United States. That's it. That's all that was sold.
In 14?
Yep, in
Okay.
14. And there was a few changes, subtle changes that haven't been officially documented, but this is stuff that I've noticed by meeting other owners of these cars. Our cars are lower than the 13 and 12s. If you park next to a stock 12 or 13, they will look totally different because the ride is much lower. The taillights have a factory smoke on them compared to the 13 and 12 as well. As far as I'm aware, the daylight surround opening mold blackout, I guess is what it's called.
Okay.
Basically window trim, they couldn't just call it window trim, is blacked out as an option, and I don't think that was an option on at least the 12s.
So,
I think you had to have chrome around your windows.
So the 14s has a bunch of aesthetic mods and a bit lower than all the years prior to that. And also, I don't know if you guys caught that, but he said that there's under 500 of these that were ever produced in North America for the 2014 model. So this is quite a gem.
This is super rare. The only downside realistically with this car, if you're comparing this to something like a Scat Pack nowadays, is the major downfall is the transmission. Realistically, that's what's withheld the values from increasing, or at least, you know, maintaining a certain level of value. You still have the old 5-speed tried and true, at least it's tried and true, 5-speed automatic gearbox. It's a bit odd to gear or to pair a transmission that's geared for top speed with an engine that's designed for acceleration.
Yeah, and that ZF8 speed is very good.
It's awesome.
I think the only limiting thing about this performance-wise is the 5-speed transmission.
100%.
So like, let's talk about that. Let's put it in like,
I can put you in sport here.
Put me in sport.
There's a couple of quick ways. You can go through the SRT menu here, or you can do the controls section. That's what I like about Chrysler's. They made it very simple. If you go to controls, you can quickly put on sport mode. It would be nice if they had a physical button, but I think this was good enough.
Second gear. Shift. It's very aggressive, like when it bangs into gear. They're long gears.
They are.
Oh, it auto shifted. So they're very, very, very long gears, and in my opinion, like that takes a lot of. Do I just hold the paddle to get back and drive? I do.
Yeah.
So that takes a lot of fun out of it, but
it does.
It's strong, right?
Right. It's a bit weird that you have to, you know, you have 5 gears, but they give you shift paddles and stuff. It's like, it's weird, like, because you want to play with gears.
Yep.
What I found is I play with the gears all the time, 1 through 3 from a stop.
Okay.
This car, I don't really play with the gears when I'm going. It's more from when I'm a dead stop and I'm ripping from 0.
Given the long gears, I do like that it's so aggressive, and it's probably more aggressive in track, but we're in sport right now. When you do shift or downshift, downshifting is a little more smoother, but when you upshift, it's like bang, bang.
Yeah.
And like,
track is really aggressive, and that's actually something I wanted to highlight as well. In 12 and 13, to the best of my knowledge, you only had comfort and sport mode.
No track.
Track mode was only available in 14.
Buffeting. Yeah, it's very, very aggressive. Linear power, and it sounds great. So minus the buffing, but buffeting. You want to talk about exhaust work on this? Because we did, I was with you, we did document some exhaust work. Do you want to talk about the 2 stages that this car has been through?
So we'll talk about originally, we've mentioned before that the car has a 2016 motor in it. Let's actually talk about what actually happens with these engines, why it has a completely different engine. And this is actually not well known, because newer stuff is better made, but almost anything powered 392 from 2011 to 2015 has rampant valve train issues. Valve springs break, lifters fail, hydraulic roller will lock, and the cam will beat the lifter until it lets go of the valve and drops it into the bottom end. Or if that doesn't happen, it will chew up your camshaft and you'll need a whole new camshaft. So unfortunately, the previous owner bought this car at 119,000 miles, and at 120,000 miles, his camshaft beat a lifter until it dropped a valve.
So it did drop a valve.
And killed the entire engine. So that's why this car has a new motor in it. And what's heavily debated in the Mopar community is if it's cylinder deactivation that has any effect on it.
Here, we're gonna little this straight away.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's linear. It is heavy, And that's like, and the gears are like long, but the power is like,
yeah, it's
very
there.
good.
It's there. There's a couple of dead spots, I think, in the power. There's a lot of torque all the time, but for example, when you have 5 speeds, you'll find yourself that you're in a position where like you're kind of screwed. Problem is if you're doing 70 miles an hour on the highway and you punch it, you're not getting second gear.
True.
You're getting the very bottom of third.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of think like if you're cruising with people, what gear you're gonna have to be in. It's not like an automatic where you can just kind of, it knows what it needs to do. This is old technology. It really came down to the fitment. They couldn't fit an 8-speed in this chassis, and I don't think they had a torque converter that could deal with the 5.7 yet, or the 6.4 for 8 speeds.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the 392.
Yeah.
So it's heavily debated if it's cylinder deactivation, and I'm willing to bet that China will go through several more revolutions in their government and economy before Hemi guys figure out what actually causes the lifters failing in these engines. And realistically, from my opinion, it's bad lifter design, the angle of the lifter, idling, it's multiple factors, but it realistically comes down to a bad design. You won't catch a lot of Mopar guys admitting that, but it's a bad design.
Yeah.
A lot of us wish we could put a cam and have LS kind of numbers, but you can't. You're spending an obscene amount of money to make 60 plus wheel. I mean, you're spending over $5,000.
It's not. That's not worth it.
It's
yeah.
not. It's absolutely not. That's why a lot of guys will just pro charge at very low boost and wait for it to explode, because they'll just be like, okay, I get more than 60 wheel out of a pro charger, but then my engine's kind of a bomb. As far as the exhaust, so the reason why I brought up the engine and the exhaust is the engine has a different header than the original engine. So that pushes the original exhaust system on this car back. So the tips are a little bit further out, the whole system's a little bit lower. It's a little bit of a mutt, and technically speaking, this system is a complete one-off.
Yeah.
There is not another system that's like it. It's got 16 headers connected to a 14 exhaust. I had mid-pipes done with Elia, that was on video, but I kept my suitcase mufflers with valves in the back. Sounded great, and the thing was I wanted to maintain that valve to, you know, keep some normalcy, but what I found is that this, is that a guy on a horse?
That's a horse.
Wow.
That's a guy on a horse galloping through manure. Hello, he's wearing a mask outside on a horse.
I don't like Mustangs. I had those mid pipes done, and then I was like, you know what? It's time for more volume. I'm getting a little bored. Sound insulation here is honestly so good for what it is that I didn't need those valves, so I was missing out on so much sound. So the mid pipes were done, and the full system was completed by cutting the rear mufflers out. But the problem is like any other SRT product, you can go 3 inches all the way out. These have a custom valved muffler, which comes down to a 2.5 inch pipe like an RT. They went to a 2.5 inch exit, and honestly, I think it kind of sharpened the note. Yeah. And it sounds, according to my friends, and maybe they're just talking to gas me up or something, but it sounds almost kind of European sometimes.
Okay, let's not get carried away. I think it's a great sound. I think it's perfect now without the mufflers. Still have your cats, right? Or
yep, cats, primary, secondary, they're all there.
Yep, it's literally perfect now.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
I agree. You're gonna need to get somewhere to do a dead stop, because that's when you're really gonna feel what this car is all about.
Yeah.
And what this transmission is for.
So what, should I launch it?
If you want to. It's a bit rough here, but.
All right. To what, 2,000?
No, I would just floor it.
Okay. Oh my God! A bit of a burnout, but I thought traction would cut.
It's a little bit worth mentioning that it's like 36 degrees outside. Sure. My tires are pretty bald.
It sounds great though. The exhaust is literally perfect.
That's what this car is about.
Yeah.
That's where you have your fun. It's from a stop.
What's even funnier than that is like the traction control is full on right now. It is in sport.
It allows a ton of slip.
A ton.
A lot.
A ton. So much torque, dude.
Yeah, you might need to get like on a more like smooth road if you want to get that sound to come through.
Not so much a dusty, bumpy road.
Yeah. It literally lit them up at like 3,500 RPM.
It's the drama, dude. That's what YouTube loves. It's the drama. A more appropriate launch here.
Yeah. And we can even time it just for shits. You're probably not gonna break 5 seconds to 60.
All the fucking pressure.
Challenge accepted.
Yep.
Hey, not bad.
4.9 and 36 degrees.
That's not
bad.
I want to do another one.
Oh, you ain't getting it this time.
Too much spin. 60.
5 flat.
Damn it.
With wheel spin, 5 flat's not too bad.
It was too aggressive off the brake, and then I was fucking mad at it. Still fast, 36 degrees, bald tires, traction on, but like not really.
Yeah. Mopar traction on doesn't mean traction's on.
Yeah. So other than that, like modification wise, it's the brass monkeys.
Oh,
exhaust.
I just put R1 Concepts on, which are fantastic brakes. I could not recommend highly enough.
How much does this car weigh, real quick?
It's about 4450.
4450. We're gonna slam on the brakes.
Oh, God Almighty.
Ah, good brakes.
Oh shit. I was not expecting you to do that.
4,400 pounds is not a light car, and this thing is big. And we just changed them to R1 Concepts slotted. A very good pad, I would say, and like for value for your dollar. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great. I just wasn't expecting you to do that.
So brakes, exhaust, and wheels and tires, and that's pretty much it.
And the tune that was already on it with the new engine,
the Diablo
that was already done, but as far as mods from me, it's those things.
Okay, and like, that's all this car needs, really. It's like a good daily, it's comfortable, it's spacious, fast, it's got 3 different modes.
I got the best deal in the country, without question, for a clean title, rust-free, never saw a single winter, and it was owned its entire life in Illinois, which is a true miracle that this car never saw salt.
Yep.
And had the miles that it did when I bought it. I bought it with 135 and now we're at 177. I've put on the miles and I really have enjoyed the hell out of this car. It's lived up to my expectations. All throughout high school, I dreamed of owning this car. When I saw it featured in Breaking Bad, hence the Heisenberg plate, I flipped out. I was like, I need this car so bad. I want to be like Walter White. If I go online, $61,000.
Yeah.
I don't have that, and I still don't have that. They say a dog is a man's best friend. I think depreciation is a man's best friend.
It's true.
The recommendation would be, if you're looking for this car and it has the original engine, set money aside for lifters at the minimum. I would say you can keep your factory camshaft, spend about $3,500 on a tune and lifters, you'll be good.
For these types of enthusiast cars, if you're truly enthusiastic and want to own these cars, you just have to factor in a little bit of extra money when you do get them, just to insurance mod the things that potentially may go wrong. And in my opinion, it's worth the peace of mind. If like your car will never have an issue, you'll never know until it happens, and it could never happen. But when enjoy these types of cars, like just get the insurance mods out of the way as soon as you can, and then you can enjoy it.
42,000 miles on this car. They've been hard miles. I've been driving the hell out of it.
Pikes Peak, overheating on the top of Pikes Peak. It lost
flat
a
out
sway
on the
bar.
salt flats at 100 degrees.
Flat out on the hottest day of the year in Utah on the salt flats. Top speed runs. This thing has been through some shit, and that's why these cars are so like. That just proved the insurance mods worked, because nothing, and knock on wood, but nothing happened to this car, and it's still kicking, and it's still going well, and it's still fast, and it sounds good, it's still comfortable. Like, this thing is the prime example of like a fun sleeper daily, and I love this thing.
I don't think there's a performance car on the market that you get a G meter, drag timer, electronic gauges that read out all of your temperatures, factory carbon fiber that does peel in places, but you know, that's another topic. I don't know if they'll be going up in any kind of value in any kind of way for at least 20, 30 years. You want to make money, go invest in real estate, right?
True.
If you want an awesome daily right now and you want to stand out from the crowd of Mopars that all look the same with AutoZone, Underglow, and you know, Challengers with scissor doors. The thing is like, this is a great product to stand out and be kind of unique. My opinion has like a lot of Art Deco influence with the swooped back end, ducktail spoiler that just kind of flows perfectly off. Taillights are my favorite part. I like the architectural look of the taillights. All in all, I think it's a great car. I've had so much fun with it, and I guess it's time to announce that I am selling it. As crazy as I would be for selling probably the nicest condition driver example 300 SRT in the country, life is short. I want different experiences. It's time.
Which is, if you know anything about Tim, he worked so hard for a number of years to acquire this car, and to hear him say that it's time to move on is a big deal. It's a big deal. I think, honestly, like when it comes down to it, I think he's going to have a little bit of a cold feet moment.
I've been having cold feet back and forth, but I think about the future of the automotive industry And I think about having that special experience, and I don't know how much time we have with some of the cars that we have.
Yep.
So I want to be able to experience something kind of in a similar class, but on the complete opposite end of the target demographic, just because I want to say I did.
It's on YouTube now, so like you can't go back.
I
so
know.
if you're interested in this car, I'm gonna put, where do you want them to?
Just go to Timbro Photo on Instagram
Timbro
and
Photo,
message me about it.
I'll leave a link in the description. If you're truly serious and enthusiastic about owning a car like this, I'm telling you guys, this thing is prime and it's ready for you to enjoy. DM Timbro on Instagram. I'm gonna enjoy this car a little bit more because I have the time and I'm not gonna give it back that easy.
Gotta find an empty road, and you should try to rev hang it in first. The noise at 5,500 RPM is really something insane.
5,500, let it off. What? What is that? Thank you guys for watching. If you have a cool car in the Chicagoland area, in Illinois, mid-Illinois-ish suburbs, northwest suburbs, northeast suburbs, hit me up, DM me on Instagram. I'll also have a link in the description for that. If you have a cool car, let's get it reviewed. Let's do it before the snow gets here, or a rally car or a truck. I'm game to do that as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Tim for giving me the opportunity to review this thing. It wasn't the first time I drove this thing, but I'll never turn down the opportunity to drive this thing. I love this thing, and we'll see you guys in the next review. But he's wearing a mask on a horse outside in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we should probably swing it around.
Yeah.
I don't know how these people feel.